meeting to order this evening. Our board met in closed session and no action was taken. And I want to welcome all of the members of the public who are here this evening. And I was asked if I would surrender my gavel, so I'm happy to do so once I open the meeting. Here you are, and let's have LMS start us off.
The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Lakeside Middle FFA chapter. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door, past many friends of the FFA, it is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The Treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm counts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build our understandings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The Secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
As the plow covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of a new era in agriculture. We shall follow the leadership of our president. We shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and to the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are numerous members and guests present, Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Lakeside Middle FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. I'd like to start with a salute to our flag.
Please stand. Remove all hats and hoods. Right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now come before this meeting?
I have none, Madam President.
Does any member know of any new or unfinished business which should properly come before this meeting? Now we would like Ms. Messina to come and present
the national
anthem.
Stand.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we walked
And all of our FFA members, please go and shake the board member's hand. If you agree. Okay, good evening, board
Take
members.
it away, Mr. Mole.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, administrators, and guests. Thank you for this opportunity to highlight Lakeside Middle School, our many accomplishments. First, I would like to recognize Mrs. Robledo and all the fantastic artwork that is up here. She works so amazingly well with students, and we can tell by the artwork and the fine products that they do. So a big thank you to Ms. Robledo and all the effort she puts in these kids. This evening, I've been asked to share with the board updates on our goals for on our site plan. So I'm going to go over a few of those, starting off with our academic goals. As you can see up here, it's kind of hard to read, but what I have on the top is scores from the fall of 2020, 23-24, and below is 24-25 fall. And in our site plan, we use the assessments in the winter to winter each year. I'm sharing fall data with you because obviously we have not done the winter assessments yet. Are you telling me to speak up? Yes. Yeah, okay. But the main thing that you need to get out of this is if you take a look at the top strand up there, the red, and compare it to the one on the bottom, the red is getting smaller. That means there are fewer students in the red. And looking at the other end of the spectrum, there are more students in the green and the blue, which is what we want to see, is students moving forward. And that's for math. And if you look at reading, you'll see the same thing. The smaller amount in the top bar from 23-24 to 24-25, the red's getting smaller, and quite a bit bigger in the green and the blue, which is what we want to see. In terms of science at Lakeside Middle School, as you are aware, we have some absolutely phenomenal science programs there with our FFA and engineering and agriculture science. They all, no matter which science program, cover the state standards. As you can tell by the assessments, the state testing, our state test scores for science are about 8 percentage points above the state average. And that I really feel is because we have such an engaging science program to get kids excited about science. And Mr. Mitchell.
All right. I get to do the fun stuff. Thanks, Mr. Mole. So I was going to talk about some of the things we're doing with our Prop 28 funding, new programs and things we brought to the school. And I want to echo Mr. Mole. Thank you, Mr. Blader, for being here. It looks so beautiful. One of the first things that we did was we started a new 3D art class, and we have examples over here that look so amazing. So that's 3D art that she does with the kids, and the products are incredible when they come out. It looks amazing. We started a new intermediate dance class. We had beginning and advanced, now we have intermediate. We have an advanced digital art class that's new at LMS. And we have a theater tech class, which is amazing. That's with the other Mr. Mole, not this Mr. Mole, but Teacher Mole, or Brother Mole as I call him. And theater tech, they do, they build stage sets, they do lighting, they do, all the stuff that goes along with our productions. Really incredible class, so we've got that one as well. We bought some new toys and things for the school with our Prop 28 funding. We've got a new kiln for Ms. Robledo to do some things with ceramics and clay and those things. New computers for our theater, big stage platforms, and instruments for Mr. Justison and his band and orchestra. So we've stretched that money pretty well. Our drama department this year, the 6th graders are going to do Seussical the musical, and the 7th and 8th graders are going to do a performance of Matilda. So that's all coming up. Let's see. Mr. Mull, you got this one?
Yes, one of the things I did last summer is I spent a lot of time at the county office going to sessions on career technical education. I feel that's a very big growing area, especially in middle school. And the state is starting to see that too with some funding, with some grants. So we have been able to, with the help of the county office, in conjunction with them, finance many projects there, including upgrading all of our Project Lead the Way staff. We've ordered new shop equipment. A lot of that stuff is from the 50s and 60s, so we have some new shop equipment coming in. We also are doing a lot of career exploration activities in our crew classes. So we're real excited about that. And social emotional.
And back to social emotional, Mr. Mull just mentioned crew. So crew class we do every Monday. We've all got a crew. Mr. Mull has a crew, I have a crew. Every teacher has a crew. And it's a 20-to-1 ratio. So the beauty of that is the kids are building deep connections with us as adults, trusted adults. We do things like career exploration. We do our digital citizenship in our crew class. We do team building activities and social emotional type activities to make the connection with the kids. We have a special crew called Voice the Men that's run by Josh Tenney, our PE coach, and 2 mentor men that come out. And it's all boys, and it's boys that typically don't have maybe a male role model in the home. And they teach the boys all about things like, you know, what it looks like to be a man and character education and those things, to make a real deep connection with those boys. In addition, once a year, this year it's going to be in January, we do our Rachel's Challenge assembly. Rachel Joy Scott was the first person killed in the Columbine killing, but before she passed, she wanted to start a chain reaction of kindness, right? And she had this whole plan that she wanted to do, and she talks about empathy and compassion and making connections and maybe talking to that kid that's sitting by themselves at lunch and welcoming them in. So we do that, and that's going to be in January this year, Rachel's Challenge. If any of you can come out, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, love to have you come and join us for that. That's Lakeside Middle School. I do want to share a video, thanks to the cook. I really appreciate them doing this. It's really fantastic. However, I do want to ask them to make one small minor change to this. I've just got this video. They seem to credit me a lot. And the things that are going on at Lakeside Middle School are not due to me. It's due to our fantastic staff and team that works together to build miracles. So I do appreciate the recognition, but it really should go to the staff, the entire complex staff.
My teachers are passionate about what they teach. I'm inspired to engage and learn, making my future so much brighter. Here at Lakeside Middle School, our teachers bring so much excitement to what they're teaching. It's hard not to feel the same way. I'm fascinated by subjects I thought I'd never like, all because of my teachers' enthusiasm. There are so many ways for us to discover who we are and what we're passionate about. LMS has so many amazing electives that give us the chance to explore our interests and develop new skills. Show choir, band, orchestra, drama, theater tech, visual and digital arts.
You don't know why they were carrying. You don't want to know why they were carrying a body.
Project Lead the Way, robotics, FFA, Spanish immersion, woodshop, and so much more. These are the things that will set the stage for success in high school and beyond. The motivating force behind the relentless pursuit of student engagement is our principal, Mr. Mole. His 35 years in education and his passion for always doing what's best for students makes all the difference here. Lakeside Middle School, where we're inspired to explore, discover our strengths, believe in our potential, and futures shine bright.
Okay, thank you. Board, do you have any questions for me this evening?
Any questions? No? Well, just to your comment, I will say that you're right, it's great staff, but great leaders, great staff. So we appreciate all your hard work and elements.
And sorry, that was our personal feelings. Do have another edit for you?
Well, just know this way, if it has to be board approved, I'm gonna vote no.
He likes attention as much as he likes warm hugs.
The credit goes to the entire element staff. It really does. They do phenomenal and work magic with kids there.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
don't know where my microphone is, but I'm just so pleased that there's so many opportunities for our children there at Lakeside Middle School, and it's great to see them.
Thank you.
Thank you. And please do share the Rachel's Challenge information with us.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
we have that coming up in January.
Great.
We can work out that contract.
Uh-oh, I guess that's coming in for us soon. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it very much. Okay, we will now go to trustee comments. Trustee Bennett.
Yeah, first of all, I don't know if it's cooler to watch the kids sing or the parents in the public smiling at them. So
Yeah.
you can see how proud they are. It's kind of fun. A couple things. First of all, to Autumn, thank you or congratulations on your victory. It's good to work with you for the next couple of years. Laura, I'm a little jealous because you didn't have to run against anybody, but congratulations to you. And Andrew, it's a little bittersweet. I am ecstatic that we get to continue to work with you.
You're stuck with me.
Yes, we are. We are. You are by far the better man and the better candidate, but some things don't always work out the way we think they will.
Appreciate it.
I think you have a great future, and we're looking forward to seeing what that is.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
That's it.
Thank you so much. Trustee Ellenson.
I just want to echo what he said. I agree it's bittersweet, but I am glad to continue working with you. And I am so proud of everything you did and the clean campaign you ran. And I know great things are coming for you. So
Appreciate that very much. Thank you. Trustee Castro.
Yeah, I want to congratulate Autumn also and my friend here too. And all the work you've done on your campaigns. And we're glad to have you here. It is bittersweet, but I'm glad you're here. A couple things in the community, some of the visits I had, these were all concurrently running on a Saturday, which was cool because they were a little bit different times. Same day, but a little bit, they were staggered, that's what I was trying to say. I was at Lakeview Carnival, that was a lot of fun, and a ton of parents. I was able to find a parking place 3 blocks away, so I'm not complaining, okay, because it was full of kids and all these commercial things, these things they bring in. I don't even know the names of some of these bounce things. Then I went over to Lakeside Farms, and they had a great turnout too. The parking was much better, by the way. And then I ended that over at Lemon Crest, and again, they had a nice presentation too through the 3 carnivals that day. Then I was filming the trunk or treat over at the rodeo grounds, which I do every year, and was able to talk to some of our bus drivers. They had one of the long bus with the slide in the back, and so I asked them some questions. Like, how you feel about the electric buses, because they're here. I hope to see them next week. And they gave me some comments, and they work so hard. And I remember telling them, we're entrusting you with our precious cargo, always. And they were just so wonderful. It was a nice occasion. And I'm sure, like every year on the spirit of Christmas, on Main Avenue, we'll see Lakeside Union School District presses different things, from the Teacher Association to Verona School has it, the different school has those. I always look forward to seeing employees too, and just chat with them, because it's a big event coming up in December 3rd. That's coming up, I think. And yeah, so excited, and hope to have a report on the electric buses next month on that visit. And if I can get behind the wheel, that'd be really cool. Thank you. That's what happened.
Thank you.
Back to you.
Vice President Hofer Moyer.
Well, again, I echo everybody with congratulations on the election. It was very nice to not have to run a campaign. have been a little out for a while, so not on campuses, and I just wanted to thank everyone. My dad passed about a month ago, so I wanted to thank everybody for reaching out. So now that as a family we've gotten to a point, I hope to be on campuses a little more now than I have been able to the last few months as we've been taking care of them. So I do appreciate that. I did get to travel 2 weeks ago. I was in Indiana at the National FFA conference, and so it was nice. I spent 5 days there. I was able to connect with some other school districts and see what other middle schools are doing across the country, and attend some sessions, recognize some of our former students, and just make some new connections, and hopefully we can continue to grow our FFA program through that. So it's been some fun. I'll be doing that for the next couple of years as well, and just keep trekking along. So, thanks.
Very good. Thank you. I would like to welcome Trustee Allison back, so congratulations. I'm looking forward to working with you. A few updates for you. So you'll all recall the cement silos issue. The county finally responded to the district's request, and it was a lengthy, gobbledygook, bureaucratic letter that quite frankly didn't answer most of the questions and said nothing with a lot of words. So I did forward it over to a couple county friends that I have just to kind of gather exactly what they meant, because just like education, there's a lot of words that we don't know and I didn't understand from it. So I'm certainly going to keep in touch with that. Evidently, they haven't, basically the crux of it was they haven't approved anything at this point. There was a rumor that it had, and they said they haven't, so I'm trying to help solve that. So I'm engaged on that process. I'm looking forward to attending the CSBA conference, the School Board Association conference, with many of the staff and some of my colleagues. Every year I like to say this because I think it's important. We as the board like to make sure our staff do professional development, and this is our opportunity for professional development as a board and as leaders to see what different things we can do and learn about and then bring back to our district. So I'm looking forward to that as well. And I'm also looking forward to the Spirit of Christmas on the 7th of December, I believe. That's right after we get back from conference. And I always know because it's like the Saturday on the Friday right after we get back. So anyway, I'm looking forward to all of those events and continue to serve you. Moving on, do we have members of the public? Okay, fantastic. Then we have a public hearing to receive input regarding the findings contained in the annual 5-year developer fees report for the fiscal year of 2023-2024. I don't believe there's any public comment on that. Okay, then I'll end the public hearing. Adoption is requested of Resolution 2025-08 to adopt the findings contained in the annual 5-year developer fees report. Is there a motion to adopt?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2025-08.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay, moving on to our items of business here. So we need to designate items to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to designate items to the consent agenda?
I move to designate items to the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Is there any items that you would like to pull this evening?
I'd like to pull 2.2.
2.2, okay. Any other items?
6.4.
Okay. Any other items? Okay. I would just like to pull 5.1. 5.1. Okey doke. 2.2. I'm sorry, well, we can vote, I suppose. All right, can we vote and get a motion on all items with the exception of 2.2, 5.1, and 6.4? Is there a second? Or I'll motion it. Is there a second?
I second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 2.2.
All right, 2.2 is nominations to CSBA's Delegate Assembly. I just wanted to give anybody a chance if we do have somebody we want to nominate. now is the time for us to start thinking about that.
Yeah, and I think that'll come back before us too, right?
Correct,
Yeah.
yeah, we just have to think about that by January 7th. We would have to have something by January 7th, so if that's something that somebody is interested in, I just wanted to make sure that it was something we actually had a conversation about, so those are in.
What does that mean? What does that entail?
So when I first got elected to the board, I served us on the delegate assembly, and it's Region 18 for CSBA, and they go in regions. And essentially what it is you are nominated by either your board or some other board to serve, and then the boards elect board members to represent the county, or represent us, if you will, our county and our school districts at the State School Board Association. And in this instance, the delegate assembly meets twice a year, and one of those times is 2 days prior to the coming up conference. And they vote on positions for the association. There's a budget update, and then they have a couple extra days in Sacramento doing advocacy during the year. I spent a lot of time doing that early on, and it can be beneficial. And we probably need more rural school district representation locally than we probably currently have. I haven't checked the makeup lately. So if that's something you guys are interested in, I'd be happy to I did my stint, but I'm happy to help nominate others, and by the way, reach out to other boards and advocate for you if that's something you're interested in, because it is a great experience.
That's all I had on it, I just wanted to make sure we thought about it.
Okay. I have to tell you, I kind of just got tired of it because of the politics of it. It was kind of ridiculous. So that's just my assessment for you. If I'm being honest, that's my assessment for you.
That's the first time I've heard Andrew say he's tired about politics.
Well, when you were in the room I was in, trust me, you would have been. Okay. Any other things on that? Okay, great.
So,
But I don't think we need to do anything with it, do we?
yeah, I will,
Yeah, I guess we have to.
we still have to. So I move that we approve 2.2 as is.
Okay. Second, any discussion? Okay. Autumn seconds. All in favor? Aye. Excellent. Okay, 5.1 is the expeditionary learning. The reason I wanted to bring this up was I just wanted to thank you guys for your work on that and for your very thoughtful preparation of us and email and sending us all the details. So I also wanted to make sure this was a time where if the board had any specific questions, they could ask it now before I make a motion. Any questions? Any comments that anything you'd like to add?
No, we're excited. The middle schools are ready to go, and I know they're excited for the official adoption so that we can add it to our list and know that we have the board's approval to continue to use the curriculum.
Okay, excellent. Well, then, here and now, is there a motion to approve?
I move to approve 5.1.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. I'll second.
One of them.
Laura will second, okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, 6.4.
Yeah, as you remember, I brought up a couple of things I was a little concerned about on this one when we first did our first readings on this.
Yes.
The lactation policy that's coming from Sacramento. Looking through it, there was a few minor changes and some strikeouts. I still continue to have no problem with this in the sense that, from what I understand and read, the primary reason that this is changing because they're removing the feminine pronouns from the lactation policy. So, again, it's subtle and it is a minor change, but it speaks to this just stuff I don't agree with, which is that women lactate, men don't lactate. And the reason that they're doing this is so that they can go further with this and say men are allowed to claim that they can lactate. So I'm voting no on this, and I encourage the board to listen to the board as well.
Okay. Having heard that then, is there a motion to approve? Or no? But we need a motion and we can discuss.
Well, I move that we do not approve it.
Okay. Motion to, is there a second? I will second for discussion. Okay, so discussion, feel free.
So what happens if we don't approve that?
That would be a good question for legal. I don't know the answer to that at this point.
The answer we got from legal was you had on choice.
Right.
Which again, bothers me on multiple levels, because if we don't have a choice, then why did they bring it forward to us as a board? Why don't they just say, you have to adopt? They kind of pigeonhole you or corner you and say, well, this is what you need to do, please approve it, but there's no real out from what legal's telling us to disapprove it. Whatever they say that we need to approve, we approve. Which again is part of my problem with this nonsense. So we don't have an answer to that. You know, to be very transparent, it causes a lot of problems if we do not approve it. I mean, there will be some backlash of some sort. I don't know what that is. But you know, if you're passionate about it and you don't agree with it, then I encourage you not to vote for it. If you agree with it, then I encourage you to vote for it. And that's certainly your choice as a board member.
And I did talk with Dr. Taylor about this, and of the term biological female, and she told me that via legal, that can't be done, that can't be used.
The term biological female? No, I mean, they tell us what the wording should be, and we don't really have an option to edit the policy. Is that correct? To your understanding? I mean, that's what legal told me.
Yeah, that's kind of what they said. I think my overarching question would be, if this is the path that I would like to understand more deeply why we couldn't edit the language, or leave what I would prefer in my assessment of this is if there's disagreement or philosophical disagreement among the board, I would prefer not to adopt any changes and leave the existing policy in place, which doesn't change anything whatsoever at this point in time. And that would be my preference, because, and we need to get clarity on this, there's probably nothing that says at this point that we'd have to change it based on the law, and I don't know the law, so I don't know. I want to be very clear that I'm speaking kind of just how we can work this. So my thought would be, you know, if the board is uncomfortable with the language that this was edited to look like, perhaps what we do is we just keep the same policy that we have in place, the current policy in place, with the same language in place. And it doesn't, because sometimes CSBA recommends we make changes without us actually having to do so. And so because as long as this aligns with the practice that somebody who, you know, is, you know, lactating is able to then do that, we're not violating any laws by allowing them to do so. So I'm happy to keep the existing policy in place, which does not give us, to me, any legal exposure. I'm not a lawyer, but it wouldn't give us any legal exposure because we're still permitting that practice, but we have not changed the policy. So I'm totally open to that. If that's something the board is interested in, then we'll talk about that.
So again, just for discussion purposes, like I mentioned, one of the problems I have with this is you're going to have a situation where there's going to be a female in a lactation room, and a man can walk in there and just sit there.
I understand
That's
the
problematic.
issues.
And again, I don't suspect that that's going to be an issue, but I think the concern is if we do not adopt the policy and we leave the old policy, and somebody does push that envelope and say, no, I want to go into that room, I'm a biological male, I want to go into that room, that's I think where the crux would come, because then they say we've never adopted that policy that says I can't.
Yeah. So I think what we probably need then is to know in the CSBA recommendations, this is how the board policies come to us generally speaking, right? Either it's new law that we have to change instantaneously because of it's coming into place, or CSBA says, oh, you know, here's a new updated policy that you should take a look at and that you should probably do because it would be helpful to you to do that, right? They don't really give you any reason, they just say, oh, here you go. And that happens from time to time. It's not always the case, sometimes it's legal, sometimes it's not. So I'd like to know what which category that policy is, or it could be in some other category where it's both. And maybe you know that already.
I do.
Okay.
Not federal regulated.
regulations. Is
Yes.
It's just a new title.
This is, yeah.
It's not Title labor code. So the labor code, the recommendation from CSBA for the language change is to bring our current board policy up to using the same language as the newly adopted labor code. So now they would say the same thing. So it's, CSBA is recommending the changes just to bring it in alignment with changes in the writing of the labor code.
Okay, so my question is, if there's a biological woman who's lactating, but she identifies as a male to others, is she not allowed to have those spaces?
No, the policy doesn't say anything about biological male or female. The only thing that changed in the policy is rather than using she or her, they're using the word their. So the actual,
What?
It just becomes general. It's just general to a person,
Right,
not
they
to.
made
So-
it into like a non-binary pronoun.
Well, there would be no reason for a male to be in there, right?
In
That's
theory.
kind of the thrust of Trustee Bennett's comments.
I mean, that's not the purpose of a place for them to go.
Under the federal,
I'm sorry.
under the federal guidelines that this policy is crafted from,
Federal or state?
I think these are federal.
labor code, is it federal?
It's federal, and then the state, California, all the states have to comply with it.
So then CSBA sent us this policy that says this complies with federal change, the state adopted such change, you will need to adopt such change as your employer, et cetera. And so, though that's the process in this instance that I'm gathering occurred. That's why it's before us this evening, or it's been before us. So what Trustee Bennett is, the motion that's on the table is that we do not approve this policy, meaning we just don't adopt the new changes. That's what he's saying. The other side of the discussion that I was mentioning was we could simply keep the previous policy and not adopt the new changes, in which case, from my perspective, is a little more helpful to the district, if that's the path that the board is trying to go.
If you don't adopt a new policy, does the other one just sit and wait?
It's sitting there, and
Either way, it's the same.
In other words, is that the two sides of the same coin?
no, from my assessment, from a legal perspective, the board did then, again, I'm not a legal person, I haven't been in these situations. The board did then not take a vote saying we will not enforce. You'll all recall, in COVID, when we changed the masking policy, we did not say that we weren't going to enforce. We created our own. And that was so that kids could have as much access to the classroom as possible. My argument is, if the board is really uncomfortable with this language, that we treat this in a similar light, and we say, let's just leave the policy as is. I think that is more helpful to us. That's my perspective.
So, has Jim made a motion on what you just said?
No.
I made a motion that we just
But
say no.
he's made a motion that we just say no. Now, my question to Jim is, would you remove your motion for the previous one that I just mentioned, where we're gonna just table this discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
So I removed my motion.
Okay, he's removed his motion. And I'll remove my second. Okay, so my proposal then on this is that we table this and we just table it.
I'll second.
Okay? Any discussion? Any discussion?
So by tabling, are we going to then continue to look at this policy then?
Well, that's gonna be up to the discretion of
Right.
the agenda setting, which is for further discussion. But I would like to delve into some of these nuances as we go forward, because there are this is not gonna be the last time we have this discussion. So I would like to understand what's in the toolkit. I would like to understand what's in the toolkit without us also, I want the district to be as on the highest moral ground possible as we ask questions. Okay, we have so there's a second, and do you have any discussion or thoughts?
That's my question, yeah.
Okay.
I just want to generally say that I think it's just insane that we're having these discussions, but.
If that was a motion, I'd second it, but it's, okay. It's good that we have these discussions. I think it's very important. Very few boards have these kind of policy discussions, I will tell you. So I think it's very good. Okay. So we have a motion to table 6.4. There's a second on the floor. I think we can do roll call. I don't think we need to do roll call vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys. Next, to discussion items. So we have our enrollment report. If you have questions on it, it's in our agenda or in our packet. Quarterly investment report. If you have questions, again, it's in the packet. 0 Williams complaints were filed with the state. That's a great thing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So thank you guys for what you're doing on the ground for that. I'm very grateful. Okay, review of committee representation. So what I'd like to do on this is I'd like to just move this to our December organizational meeting when we elect our officers, and I think that's a better time to place this because we'll be talking about, the officers, and I just think it fits into the discussion that evening much better. So if you guys are okay with that, we can move that to the December organizational meeting. Okay, review of a diligent online agenda system. So I would love if one of the staff would just give us kind of their quick summary of this and proposal. I figure it's you. And by the way, I know what you wanted, so tell us what it is that you'd like.
So this is my brainchild, but I definitely wanted to get your input and see what you think. So many districts have their agendas online through software. There's typically 2 different softwares, Diligent, and then CSB actually offers a software as well. We spoke to both, and we felt like Diligent, which is actually the newest form of board docs. So you may see like Cajon uses board docs, was the better software system. So we just feel that this would bring better transparency for our agendas online. It's easier to search items online. It's gonna be easier to navigate and save us time internally to post agenda items, post backup. It'll look cleaner, more professional. And then, yeah, a lot of districts are using it, so I just feel like it's kind of time for us to jump on board.
Great. Any questions on this?
Do you have to go back and archive old meeting agendas, or is it just kind of like you'll start at a point and move forward with the new software?
Do you remember what these? I think they help us transport over, a few years. I don't think they're gonna do everything, but we can probably provide a link to our website just to keep everything that we've posted so far.
I'm sure that the private sector is better than the CSBA. So.
Yes, well, this is its own system. So the one thing I would like to say on this is that this is more, and we can get into this way later, this is really not super relevant, but it might because it's a question about if the software provides this. Would the software be able to handle like a board, the board section, a board member only section that allows for Ron to place her highlights and things in that section on this that we could only access through our ability? Yes. And the reason I say that is because this is a personal preference. I use my phone, so when you guys send me the links, I'm not logged into that account, and then I have to go in and do all this stuff, and I'm sorry, but it drives me nuts. I rarely use I do everything on this, and so, and I'm less on the move now, but I'll be on the move again very soon. And so I think the point is that, I don't know, it'd be helpful to me. I don't know if you guys have had that situation, but it's like I want to read the highlights once I get them in the email, but then I log in, oh gosh, I can't do that, when I get in a call. So, I mean, if it could fit into the app where you just drop it in, I don't know.
Yes, everything will be on that online website.
Well, that's how I feel about it. This
Yeah.
has been on, by the way, this has actually been,
One more time.
this just goes to show you that Andrew Hayes has way too much time on his hands right now at this moment in time, because I'm thinking about that. But it is something I've been truly been thinking about for preference purposes.
I think too, did they, in the presentations on both, that they, for like closed session items, it could be a secure, and it was, you can.
Yeah, there's a confidential section. We would have the ability to vote in there if we want to. So there's all kinds of capabilities, and we don't have to do everything. We can just start simple and then kind of build our way up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason I say that is I was just very interested to see if we could put it all in one place. I think it would help if board members, and we had an app or whatever, that we could then, log in and do it on our app on our phone. And that way everybody has it and it's accessible and we can read it all in one place as opposed to going through all these different emails. There may be public records problems with that, however, so we should probably think about that. I don't know, but anyway.
I'm impressed at the setup is such a little.
I know, me
place.
too. I was really impressed with that.
Wow.
Yeah.
$500, that's it, to set up? That's very impressive.
Yeah.
And
So
it's-
great fun.
And it's 6,000 a year, is that
Yes,
correct?
it's software.
Yes.
So my only question is, do we save any money by switching over, or is the cost to us $6,000 just out the gate? And then do we have a fund for that? So it's not like we're taking money from another program or something like that to fund it?
It's not,
I know, I'm
It
looking
comes
for
from the
at least
superintendent's
that.
budget. It comes from Rhonda's budget.
Yeah,
It comes from Rhonda's budget. It comes from Rhonda's budget. So she's here to serve us. This is going to help us. We need it. And I can take shots at her. She's not here tonight.
As somebody who also has set agendas and all of that, it's gonna help Rachel quite a bit.
Yeah.
And she's doing all of this by hand right
Yeah.
now. And
Yeah.
Well,
it,
it's
there's
actually-
so much more,
cost is that
where
we're,
you can have
the
Erin
time that
involved
we're
in
paying
it.
Rachel to
Right.
do all that.
It's
Yeah,
like human
exactly.
labor, it's
Yeah.
like human labor capital.
Correct.
That really, you're gonna see that, because it's not just Rachel either, it's, because
Yeah.
I've worked in these systems before, and it's just like, from my department, we have a lot. It's like my assistant and she would set the agenda, header, upload all of the documents, it would come to me, I would review it, it's all electronic, and it's not, copy and paper and, passing it to here and there and to get approvals and stuff. It has, you can make your own,
more
approval
collaborative.
links and stuff, to go through the process to eventually reach Rachel, or you can reject it and say, no, I want it to say, it was, I'm telling you, it streamlined things like tremendously, and it saves everything. So I could go back and say, oh, I remember, we had this contract, blah, blah, blah. And I can go back in and everything's still there. And then it saves it, and so if you're doing annual things, you just go back into the prior year, you pull that, you update your whatever, move on.
I think it's nice too, because you don't have to wait, like, at least I've seen like the board doc side of things in other districts where like I was just on the agenda at Rosemont Union and I needed to find out, did I get approved or not? Because my event's on Saturday and I hope I got approved, and I was able to go in the next day and see, okay, yes, everybody approved my line items and I'm good to go. I didn't have to call up their business office and say, hey, was my contract approved? Because I really don't want to cancel. And I could just easily pop up when I was somewhere else and say, okay, I got my approval from the board.
Okay, well, if the board's comfortable, I say we move ahead and drain Rhonda's budget.
I'll let her know.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you guys. Okay, one thing I wanted to bring up in discussion items tonight was the recent announcement from the County of San Diego regarding the transient placement or potential transient placement for sexually violent predator Merle Wakefield. This man is a heinous criminal. And the state has failed in their responsibility to place him. And the state policy by the way, is absolutely wackadoodle, is that if the state cannot find a location, they then release them as a transient. So this, I mean, that's how deadbeat the state is on this stuff. Anyway, so long story short, is Merle Wakefield is a guy who was proposed to be placed all across this county, from Borrego Springs to Acumba to everything, and he's had numerous offenses against kids and all these other things. And the notion that the county or a judge could release him his transient in the next couple of weeks is a scary thought, because transient means he could be anywhere. He could come to Lakeside, he could be in Santee, he could be in El Cajon, he could be in Mount Laguna, we don't know. So what I would like for us to consider tonight, and what I'd like for us to do, is write an opposition letter that the district, and the board is opposing the release of Merle Wakefield, and that we will transmit that to the judge who's hearing the case, and we treat it as a public comment from the district to the judge, kind of alluding that a transient release is not appropriate in any community, but particularly one where, in Lakeside we have homeless make it out here. So I mean, I think we need to be very, very clear that we don't support this kind of release, particularly when he could end up in our community. So that's kind of what I'd like for us to discuss, and I'd like for us to transmit that letter as soon as possible. Thoughts, comments?
Well, one thing I would like to ask in the letter, and this has kind of always been my stance, it's not just for the community, it's actually for the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Just to release somebody on the street, I mean, we don't do that to stray dogs, but we tend to do it to humans, which I think is morally reprehensible. That we just throw people out on the street and expect them to, just figure it out. So even for the benefit of this individual, that's probably not the best thing for him either. And also the community, obviously, but it just boggles the mind that we just let people wander the streets and not help them or collect them or do whatever it needs to do to make sure that they are taken care of. So that's, kind of the centrist view that I have on that.
Is this a different person than they were talking about actually placing in Poway?
That was a different individual. That was a different individual.
Different?
Yeah.
So the person you're talking about, he's an SVP?
Yes.
Okay. Because typically all the SVPs are put in Acumba, sadly.
In this instance, Liberty Healthcare, which is the state contractor, as you know, has not found a location for Mr. Wakefield. And Mr. Wakefield has been proposed to be placed in places like Borrego and Acumba, and those placements have been denied by the judge. And in the state code, the law is that when they cannot find the placement, the judge can either transient release or put back into state hospital. The state is pushing through state hospitals for transient release. So their recommendation will be transient release because he's finished his program and they don't want him in the program anymore. So that's kind of the nitty-gritty part of this.
What's their state definition of a transient release?
Meaning you just let him go.
Yeah. Here you go.
He's a homeless.
Here's $50, go.
He could
have a ankle monitor on?
No. The transient release means exactly what it sounds like. You're just letting him go.
Reports to no one.
Correct. And even if he did.
He's a homeless individual.
Yeah, he's homeless.
Tracking.
Yeah, he's homeless. And even if he did have tracking, good luck finding him. And he's on parole, good luck to him showing up. But that's not how it's worded in the code, by the way. It's transient release, so it sounds exactly what it's like.
And he's SVP, not?
He is SVP. He is an SVP. I have worked on cases around him for about 5 years.
They're thinking of releasing him.
Yes, well, this is why we should transmit a comment to the judge saying that we oppose it, in my opinion. And that, by the way, is rarely done by school districts, but I think it's very important that we take a stand on this because I think the judge is going to hear the normal comments from people that he just shouldn't be released. But I think if we articulate that education agency is concerned, it's a broader coalition than what judges usually hear. So I think that that's going to be helpful to us.
I think it does hold some weight. I think it also speaks to more commitment for school safety, kid safety.
Is Liberty going to be providing stipends or
No.
food?
No.
They're just gonna
Transient
put him out
release.
there, and he's gonna wander around
Transient release, that's
the
what
county
it is.
or different counties.
Yeah, it's free to go wherever you want.
That's the law, that's what the state in their infinite wisdom believes is right.
But it's different than all the ones they placed way in East County or High Desert.
Because it's not being placed in a specific.
Yeah, I mean, it's more, it's quite frankly, it's worse.
Yeah.
I mean, quite frankly, it's worse, because in those instances, I don't support their placement whatsoever. I believe they should be, locked up forever. But the point is that if the state believes that these folks should be released or is deemed releasable through the process, in the contract process, then what ends up happening is they get placed. So all I'm saying is, the placements, at least there's some law enforcement and civility.
It's actually pretty tight. They don't really.
This is what I'm saying, this is why the transient release is a huge problem.
Yeah. I hate to see more of the.
And like Jim says, it does that person a disservice as well.
Correct.
It doesn't help them.
No, it does not.
If anything, it harms them more.
Yes,
It
it
makes
does.
it
Yes, it does.
option.
Yes, it
Pretty
does.
sure if I just release my pet out in the thing, I'll get arrested, so.
Probably. Okay, so are we in alignment then, that that's what we'd like to transmit a letter? And I will forward the details to the staff. How to do that and who we address it to, but I'm happy to help in the crafting of it, because I'm happy to sign it. Okey-doke, thank you, folks. Okay, next to our first readings of board policies. So, Board Policy and Administrative Regulation 0510, the School Accountability Report Card. And it looks like there's an Amazon delivery. School Accountability and Report Card. Is there any discussion on the SARC Board Policy and AR? It was very meaty and very heavy, but it was good, and basically the only change that I saw was that it requires us to translate into all different languages. So that was what I saw. But which is going to expand our board packet if we have to do that. Think about that. I want you to know when we get to SARCs, it's going to be, instead of 1,000, it'll be 3,000 pages. At least we don't print them out. Okay, are we good?
I can't read the other ones.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's all right, she's got a new system.
Yeah, exactly.
We're print it now because we're paying for that.
That's right. Okay, so we're good with that coming back to us? Okay. All right. AR 3517 and Exhibit 3517E, Facilities Inspection. Comments on this one?
Yes.
I do have as well, so you go first.
First of all, if you haven't read it, I encourage you to read it in great detail. Now, again, I think the language, I don't know if the language has changed, but because it comes back up, it opens up the door to a lot of discussion. So in this facility, so again, it just says facilities, which I think is interesting as well. This is where we're putting tampons in boys' bathrooms. This is where we have gender neutral issues. We have issues with bathroom facilities being open to, boys' bathrooms being open to biological girls and vice versa. This is hugely problematic, again, especially in Lakeside. This one's gonna take a lot of discussion next time, I'm sure. But this one is,
Yeah.
this one is really, really problematic. So, like I said, if you haven't read it, you need to read it in great detail. There's a lot of problems with this one, especially in Lakeside.
Yeah, so for the board's knowledge kind of on this, is that there have been a couple laws that have passed regarding this, and the first law was SB 720, I believe, and SB 720 basically said that if you have a 6 through 12 grade, school district, that you should offer those products in all bathrooms. That was the law. This new law that the state passed says that we need to expand it to those below 6th grade, to bathrooms below 6th grade. And that's the key difference that is important. Previously, it was 6 through 12, now it's 3. They want us to do from 3 to 5, third grade to 5. So any site that has that, with the exception of course kindergarten, MTK, and they do cite that in the law. I just wanted that for background for you all as you look at this and you read through it And you think about it.
You just said should.
Well, I mean shall. That's the law. It says shall. It says shall.
Have to.
Meaning have to, yes, it shall. That's the state law, that's what they're saying. Now, here's one thing I would like to just read that I actually have questions on that I'd like for us to just pursue for next time. And this is from the code directly. It says, a public school, including a school operated by a school district, county office of education, or charter school, maintaining any combination of classes from grades 6 to 12 inclusive that meets the 40% pupil poverty threshold required to operate a school-wide program pursuant to this is Title I, shall stock at least 50% of the school's restrooms with menstrual products available and accessible free of cost at all times. Now, why am I asking this? I just want everybody to understand why I read that. It highlights here the 40% pupil poverty threshold required, and again, up above it says from grades 6 to 12. So does that mean that for schools that are K to 6 or K to 5 in our district that are not 40% pupil, does that actually apply? Because it's not saying that to me here, and I read through the rest of it, and it still, I don't think, answers that. Because they mention this 40%, population, and so I'm just trying to understand what that means and how it's applied, because to me, that would be a way for us to have a further discussion that's based in law. So I'd like to at least have us try to find that out.
Can you repeat the 50%?
Well, it's 40.
No,
No,
there was something else.
half of
50%
of
of
bathrooms.
So
So if you have two
So-
bathrooms.
So if you have two bathrooms,
one
at least
has to
one.
have
at least one. When I was talking to Rhonda, she said every bathroom. Is that changing?
Well,
So,
that's kind of the crux of my question.
okay.
It's been, current law has been that on any school campus, 6 through 12, you at least have to have a bathroom that has like a male bathroom that has the dispensers in
So
it.
it has to be 50% of male bathrooms, 50% of female bathrooms.
No.
No, it's 50% of
Bathrooms.
50% of bathrooms.
So then why can we just,
So no, there's a part of the law that says, and you have to have in a male bathroom as well. So but the question though, in what I read in that statement is kind of the crux of what I'd like to understand, because one, part of it says that, so does the 40% pupil poverty not apply to K through 5 schools? Does it apply only to our 6 through 12? Because if that's the case, well then we can take a look at our schools and see what that looks like. But I just been trying to understand because it doesn't say anywhere else here that 40%, it's only mentioned one time, and it's in section A. So, Section A of the code, of Ed Code, so it's section 35292.6A. And this is of the current law as it stands. And this is after.
and what does stocking a bathroom technically mean? We just put.
They define that later on.
Oh, they do.
They tell you what the access looks like and all that. I mean, it's very
Because
detailed.
we
It's
all
very
know
detailed.
what's happening. The boys are throwing them in the trash or flushing them down the toilet. It's just a huge waste of money, right? Are they providing compensation for us? So we just have to come up with.
No, they never provide.
No.
Yeah.
And by the way, they have a fun little note at the end of all of their state mandates, which I love, and this is funny, and you'll appreciate this. If the Commission on State Mandates determines that this act contains costs mandated by the state, reimbursement to local agencies and school districts for those costs shall be made pursuant to Part 7 of Division 4, Title 2 of the Government Code, which basically means we never refund you. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying to us. So, now sometimes though, you can, and to be fair, they do put in here how we could get reimbursement. There is actually a process that they put in here. So, or that's in some of the
I
guidance.
think it goes to an email box.
Well, that's just their disclaimer, because it's not, they've made the law, and I know, are you familiar, Andrew, there's something going through right now being about no more bills that cost money unless you can come up with and fund it, quit mandating this stuff that's not funded.
Yep.
So I think there's a big push for that, because I'll tell a funny story really quick. Todd came in right after this, Phil came in, and he goes, I've got to increase the custodial budget, at least. It's blown out. And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, who knew that in the boys' restrooms, the boys used so much feminine products?
Yeah, because they're throwing it at the ceiling.
And so, yeah, the plumber, I mean, he said, you know, our plumber is constantly unclogging toilets because they're having to scrape stuff off because they're just, you know, it was a playground for, and it's a daily thing. It's a daily thing in the middle school restrooms. I can't even imagine high school. But,
Anybody who knows a
Well, we
sixth
have
or
a middle
eighth
school
grade
teacher over here who
boy
can attest to that.
student knows this is a very bad idea.
exactly, except I guess the people at the state don't.
Yes, they don't. So, long story short is, you know, that's my initial question. And I think that kind of our previous discussion is, and some of those questions that we had on the toolkit will help inform us as we move forward. So, anyway, that's my question on the policy at this point in time. I certainly don't support it, and I think it's kind of ridiculous that, at least for boys' bathrooms, I don't support it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think the same thing, it's like, really, you need to put feminine products in a second grade bathroom?
I also think my other disagreement is the K-5 part of this. I mean, that to me is kind of a little, I mean, at middle school, okay, you can get me on that, but to K-5, it's kind of a reach to me. So, I'd like for us to pursue
I'm
it.
gonna say, you are gonna have 4th and 5th grade girls.
Yeah, you are, you're right.
That do need these
You're
as
right.
well, so don't
But
think
they've
just.
always been in the health
But they've always,
office. They've
exactly,
always been in the
they
health
are
office.
available, but I'm just saying, like, as you guys are
You
talking,
can
just
request it,
please
yeah.
remember that we are dealing with younger and younger kids as we go.
No, I get it. That's kind of my concern.
Right.
Mm-hmm. No, that's, I mean, I get the thought process on the, you know, going down grade levels, because it does happen, but you go back to every single school office, in their health office, and the nurses has anything, they've always been stocked, there's never been an issue.
And particularly at that level, I think that's kind of my perspective. You know, again, as I said, in middle school, it's a little different.
And this is just where, you know, we get in these circular conversations
I know.
that are just really annoying, because the assumption is that we're big, bad, evil people that don't want to supply these things to little girls, and therefore they need to mandate certain things that just make no sense.
I know. Okay.
So the question, are we tabling this, or are we?
No, I mean,
bringing
it's
it
just
back for a
first
second-
reading.
For a second.
And it's just first reading. I
Do
think
we
it
want to
can-
bring it back for a second reading?
I think so. I mean, we
Or
can
we
bring.
adopt it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably, because then we can discuss, based on the previous discussion, what we would, what edits we can make.
Right.
And then I think if there's no edits and we vote, right? I mean, we can do that, but I just like to be proactive, and I think the previous discussion is gonna help us with that as well.
Okay, so I think we bring it back for a second reading
Yeah.
at December's
Yeah,
meeting
I'm good
with
with that.
adoption possibly in January.
I'm fine with that. If everybody else is fine with that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we can edit it and do stuff in between then, or do to whatever we can to it. Okey-doke, board policy and exhibit 14040, employee use of technology. Comments? I thought it was pretty easy.
This is what they did on the AI.
Board bylaw 9010, public statements. I'm so glad that this one's being changed. It had some of the most irritating language with respect to board members and just in social media and stuff. Just like, oh, come on. So I'm so glad that it's been changed for the positive. Okay. Board policy and administrative regulation 6112, school day. More recess. I think that's what that one is.
Have to have recess.
Have to have recess.
Have to have recess.
And it can't be used as a
You can't
discipline, right?
Right, it can't be used disciplinary, as you can't have recess, they still have to have recess.
Yeah.
You have to find some other way.
Okay, any comments on that? I thought I'll come back to us. Alrighty. I don't see any of our labor partners this evening, so we'll move right away over here to Lisa Davis.
No updates tonight.
Thank you for your hard work. Well, we got the update in closed session, so thank you for your work there. Okay. Robin.
No updates.
Wow.
We're just rolling right along.
Dump her way in spirit. She's gonna have updates. She's gonna have updates. She's gonna have updates. She's gonna have updates.
We exceeded our time.
Thank you. So kind of you. I'm gonna ask you. I have very short updates. Just to let you know that trimester 1 of our school year ended last Friday, and so teachers are currently working on report cards, and they will go out the Friday before Thanksgiving break, November 22nd. So that is when our trimester 1 report cards will go to families. We are currently administering the California Healthy Kids Survey to our 5th and 7th graders, as well as parents and staff members. The survey, as you know, gives us a lot of data about where our students are at around safety and school connectedness and many other things that we rely on to help us drive the services that our students need. So I will likely be reporting results to you in the February mid-year update. And then lastly, we have just completed cycle 1 of our math transformations work this year. So they've spent, our experts at Math Transformations have spent 3 days at every elementary school this year. So it's a week at each school, and in that week they spend 3 days, and during that time they meet for 3 hours with every grade level. So the teachers give students a math performance task the week before Math Transformations comes out, and then the week that Math Transformations is there, the teachers at every grade level can sit with a consultant and they review the results of the student math performance tasks. It's our first year doing those. So we're kind of doing 3 things at one time. One is assessing if the students are learning what we're teaching, but also, do we like the performance task? Is it giving us the information that we're hoping to get? And also, do we like the rubric that we're using to review the performance task? So we're kind of doing 3 things at one time, but every week the teachers complete a survey that participated, and then Math Transformations shares that survey with me, and the survey results, just like last year, have been super positive. Teachers feel like they're getting a lot out of the process, learning more about their students, and I've not read one unpositive comment about the Math Transformations work that we're doing. So our hope here is to not just improve our students' math skills, but a big part of the CAST assessment is their ability to explain how they solve the problem. So the performance tasks are designed to give students a lot of practice explaining how they came to an answer to the task. And we're hoping that if we can use it regularly and improve their skills in that area, that can actually be a big boost on our CAST scores for math. And Rhonda, so I'm going to switch gears and be Rhonda right now, but not really on me, because Rhonda always loves to end the meeting on a positive note. So I am going to do that tonight with yet another wonderful video from the cooks. Was it last week or the week before? It's all blending together. But recently, we had 2 groups of 3rd graders come to the district office from Lindo Park to do a tour of our central kitchen. I got to participate in one of the tours. It was so fun. I actually got to do it with one of the special day classes from Lindo. Oh, what did I just do? From Lindo Park, and it was just so adorable to see how blown away and excited they were by like the big pots and how the kitchen does the things that they do. So we will end with a fun video. Uh-oh. Maybe we won't.
Today, the 3rd grade from Lindo Park came by and visited us in the kitchen. They got to visit our ovens, our kettles.
Yes, exactly. These are big, hot, boiling pots.
Our fruit peelers.
This is so satisfying. I could watch the food all day.
We were so excited to share our new compost accelerator with the students. They learned how it reduces the food waste that would normally end up in a landfill. The kids finished their tour with a taste of a snack in our district's boardroom, where they visited with our superintendent, Dr. Taylor. The staff here at Lakeside really loves the students. They come together every day, early in the morning,
them every day to fill their bellies so they could go to classrooms and learn. Thank you to everyone who came today to visit our world and our kitchen, and we'll see you guys real soon.
The kitchen looks so nice.
It's nice, it is very nice.
We need a field trip.
I highly recommend it.
I do.
There's a lot of cool stuff out there.
It's very cool.
Yeah, I recommend it too. I toured
You want to
last
see the
year. I
field
think
trip?
Christian was really surprised. And they were just getting a new oven, a big oven, right? And those little parfait things look really good. And all the ladies and the guys and everybody were so cool. And how they made all that. And there were big pots of soup. And then the rooms of apples. You know, apples can stay in storage for like a year, I think, right, from Washington. And she just explained everything, and it's just clean as a whistle in there, and it smells good too. So I encourage the trustees to go in there, and Christy will show you around.
It is an achievement, particularly after all the money that we've been able to invest in that. I went over and looked at it, it's very nice, so.
New windows.
New windows and everything, way different,
So
way
many
different,
things
way
from what it used
different,
to be, yeah.
way different, let me tell you, way
It's
different.
beautiful.
And we are remodeling other kitchens around the district at the school sites.
Mhm.
Christy's been able to find some grants that will do the equipment and just revamp a lot of the equipment and stuff, so she's just been on it.
They have a lot of love and pride for the work they do, which is always amazing and wonderful.
And those accelerators, we're gonna be purchasing some more.
And I asked her what was the favorite food the kids requested. It was something Chinese. What is it they make?
Mandarin chicken.
Noodles or something they liked. And this was last year. That's what they like.
Great, well, is there anything else before us this evening? And I'll adjourn the meeting.
Yep.
Thank you all. Where you are, ma'am? Medium. Okay.